Kia ora, good evening and welcome to the Huddy Hui episode 114 and our McBain special. We're Jordan here with Petone legend, former All Black captain, Andy Leslie. Andy, it's going to be a big weekend starting with the golf tomorrow, but unfortunately you're out of the golf tournament, aren't you? Tell us what's happened.
Injured. Achilles tendons problem, so I'm just driving the cart round and picking up all the cards from the hole in threes, see who wins the money. But a very important game. We play for the jacket tomorrow, Huddy boys and ourselves. It's our third year, so we're looking forward to it.
And of course, last year the golf day didn't go to plan, did it?
No. we got hammered.
We all know who won the McBain Shield last year. So Andy's going to be joining us on the Hui tonight. Actually, early in the week, I caught up with TJ Clarke, who is the captain of the Premier side here for Petone, for his thoughts on how the team's heading into this all-important state of origin of the Hutt Valley. McBain Shield with TJ Clarke. Have a listen and enjoy. We're here with Petone captain TJ Clarke. TJ, many thanks for coming on the Hui tonight. You have been out for a few weeks with a niggling injury. How has your recovery been, and are you cleared to play this week?
Thanks for having me. Unfortunately, I haven't been given the green light to play this week. Definitely gutted, but hopefully in next week or so I can get the green light.
Now, of course, what is the injury that you've had? Because you picked it up against Oriental Rongotai about 4 weeks ago.
So I've done, I think I popped the bursa in my knee, and then I also have got bursitis or something in the top of it. I don't know exactly the physio terms. I just do what I'm told, really.
Now, last week your side had a tough win over Mara St. Pat's. What were the learnings from that game? Because there were certain areas where Marist challenged Petone in that game.
Definitely challenged us in a few areas, but I think just putting out a full 80-minute performance is what we're lacking at the moment. We just seem to leak points or give easy points, or we can't convert when we're in the 22. So we're doing the best we can, but we just seem to get no reward from good ball area.
Now, as you mentioned, you haven't been given the clearance for this week, but a massive week for you and the team this weekend. How are you preparing for this encounter?
McBain obviously is a massive occasion or a massive event in the Petone calendar. The occasion speaks for itself no matter what it is the boys will get up on Saturday. But prep this week is just getting the little 1%ers right. If it's our set piece or just connection on defense is key for us, I think. But definitely execution around our set piece.
Now, this Saturday also the Hurricanes have a semi-final which conflicts with club rugby. How do you feel about that? Because it's such a big weekend for the Hutt Valley this weekend.
It's definitely definitely is challenging as I'd love to get in there and watch it as well. But I don't mind the other games. Obviously, it does affect the Hutt Valley being such a big occasion, being McBain as well. But I reckon the Canes can get up.
Now, Petone this season, second on the table. There's been a lot of player movement, but you've got a lot of depth at the club. Tell us about the club depth at the moment.
There's I don't think we've put out the same 15 2 weeks in a row there at Petone. We've obviously faced a lot of injuries or I don't know, blessed with the Canes boys that selected come and play for us. But it's definitely challenging, but it's definitely a good opportunity for those boys that are on the fringe to put their best foot forward when they get the opportunity. And I think with the injuries now that have come, we just know that it's an easy slot to fill with the boys. We just know they can do their job.
New coaching setup for 2024. How have the new crew stepped up to the mark?
Yeah, no, I mean, I suppose it's a massive challenge taking on from what we had last year. And obviously all new to their roles, but no, I reckon they've all stepped up big time. Fridge as a head coach, Cam coming in new to the environment and new to the club, and then C Green is just he's obviously just been a massive role, coming straight off the playing environment and just offers his best hand because he's just been there, recently.
Now, of course, the start of this year was quite unique for you. You were made the captain of the side. How did you react to this, and how has this changed your game?
To be honest, I was pretty shocked. I didn't expect it at all. Just being so young, and with a massive club like Petone, I didn't expect it. It's definitely matured me into a more relaxing role, not so erratic or stuff like that. So it's definitely come with its challenges, but it's definitely matured me as a player. That's for sure.
Have you ever been a captain of a side before until this year?
Oh, I think not from like under 12s or something like that. But nothing serious.
Now, fitting in with the festivities of this week, of course, in 2021 you made your premier debut, which was in McBain. How was that experience?
Yeah, no, it was. I reckon it was one of the best club rugby experiences I've had. Just coming into the McBain itself was it's a different beast. It's pretty much like a grand final is all I can say. It's the physicality's there, the rivalry, it just speaks for itself really.
Your journey at junior level, where did it all begin for you, TJ?
Began for me on the Chatham Islands, little island off the South Island, coached by my old man and a few of my uncles and stuff. Yeah, started down there.
And we'll just see if you can get your phone, just because it just seems to be lagging a bit there. I see that seems to be better. That's good. Mentioned the Chatham Islands. You've also lived overseas as well. Tell us about your time in Australia.
The weather was obviously a bonus there. You don't get those southerlies like windy Wellington. But it was obviously it was really enjoyed myself.
And you also played a bit of rugby league out of there. How have you brought elements of rugby league into your game, of rugby union?
I definitely just think my attacking game, bringing that, introducing that, or not introducing it, but using that in my rugby game, the way I take on the line, it's definitely to hold defenders and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely just the way I approach taking the ball to the line with every carry and stuff like that.
When you came back to New Zealand, you started out at St. Pat's Silverstream. How did you adapt to the change of moving from Australia to Silverstream?
I think that was one of the easiest things I've ever had to do. Really, just the boys were fitting, and the difference between the Australian school culture and the college school culture was it was massive, and it was definitely a positive. I really enjoyed my time there. It was it's definitely one to remember.
And of course, you spent a few years in the first 15. Tell us about your time in the first 15 at Silverstream.
Yeah, I think apart from winning, but not getting the win. Sorry, I mean they were some of my best rugby years I've had. Just the playing group and the culture itself was top notch.
That 2020 season was a pretty good year for your side. You got to play alongside Peter Clarke and Riley Higgins. And how disappointing was it that in the final game of the season, where you had actually beaten Scots, you fell short at the end?
Yeah, no, it definitely sucked. But nah, that year was it was pretty unreal. The way that they played today's game in the Hurricanes is no different to how they were doing it back in college this year, and they were both two great leaders.
Now, your brother Sam, who we've also had on the Huddy Hui last year, he is playing out at Parramatta Plymouton, the second year out there. Do you both exchange ideas off each other?
Yeah, nah, we definitely bounce off each other, and if we've got a team coming up that we're versing, and we've already played them, we try and give each other the better hand, or where we thought we could target them, or how to target them.
Now, of course, last year's Swindale Shield game out at Ngāti Toa Domain, you got to play against your brother. Unfortunately, that day, Petone didn't have a great day at the office. Are you looking forward to, hopefully, when you get the clearance in 2 weeks' time, to actually go up against him again and get revenge?
Yeah, nah, definitely. I've marked that date straight in my calendar from last year. Hopefully get my revenge back this year. So, yeah, I think that's the game that I've definitely been looking forward to the most this year. Is getting one back against them.
And well as McBain this week and Maris St. Pat's, you finished the season with Pōneke, but in particular, winning these next 3 games are vitally important for Petone's position heading into the Jubilee Cup section.
Yeah, definitely. These games are quite crucial because we don't actually have a soft run home, or we're faced with a few challenges. So I reckon if we can get a few wins here, or I definitely can see it the way we're going, will set us up for a great chance in the Jubilee Cup.
To cap off your strong season last year for the Villagers, you and your brother Sam made the Wellington Lions squad for the MPC. How special was that for your family, considering that your family is a bunch of Canterbury supporters?
Yeah, no, it was it was definitely pretty much like the cherry on the cake there. I didn't expect it at all, to be honest. I was just really enjoying my footy, and that just came with it. So yeah, the old man had to change his colours. So yeah, that was good.
How did he handle when Canterbury lost to Wellington in Christchurch last year?
Oh, I mean, I think he was in the crowd with the most Wellington gears on, so I think he handled it pretty well.
Now, you also got to start a few games as well, particularly at fullback. How did you find that playing at that level of rugby?
Yeah, it was definitely a massive shock to me. But it just come down to the great coaches that we had. Tarms was massive, and it was just to go to the next level is crucial, and just knowing your role and just controlling what you can control. And it made my game a lot simpler and a lot easier. Just to do what I had to do, and everyone else was just doing their own role. You don't have to worry about what someone else was doing. So it made it a lot easier for me.
Timothy Ellison was the coach last season. Orlando Soakai has taken over as the head coach. What are the similarities and differences between those two coaches?
Oh, it's Tom's was Tom's is, I think he's up there with one of the best coaches I've ever had. He just the way that he had a read for the game and an eye, he was real down to the detail of every pass, every play, every phase. It come down to the micro details. Like for instance, there was the World Cup while we were in the environment last year, and Ireland would play at 3 a.m. and he would already come to the next meeting at 8 a.m. and he would have it all clipped up and have something to show the boys. So that was massive on me, or like for me to see that and the way that he worked around the clock. And now going into this year with Orlando, he's a lot similar with his he's down to leadership, massive on leadership and creating a good culture as well. So you can definitely see that he's thrived off Tarms and they worked well together last year. So I'm really excited for this coming season and the challenges that come with it.
Wednesday, the Wellington 15 play Manua 2 up in Palmerston North. I know that you are currently out with injury, but tell us about this game. Is this just simply a trial game, or is there something on the line?
Or definitely there'll be something on the line. Whether it's pride of representing Wellington and even if it's just getting the opportunity to go to the next level. But we talked about within our squad last year, the Wellington Lions, there was something about 30 players and about 20 or 18 of them come from club rugby. So it's just a massive opportunity for them boys to get a shot in that next level and put their best foot forward or put their hand up to say that they're ready for the Lions job if injuries come about and stuff. So yeah, definitely something on the line there, whether it's individual pride or just representing where you're from.
Who was your Wellington Lions debut against?
It was Horowhenua in the Shield game, but my official one that I put down will be against the Turbos. I come on in round 1 off the bench.
Now, McBain, there's a lot of events in the lead up to the week. On Friday, there's a certain tournament. One has told me that you're a promising golfer. Are you taking part in the golf tournament on Friday?
Yeah, definitely. I'll be a part of that. Have high hopes and seeing if I can succeed.
Now, what's your best moment in your McBain Shield history to date?
I reckon it'll be the McBain Miracle of 2022, where the Toops charged it down and Sammy Blackburn ran the distance. I think that's one of the best memories I've had with McBain.
Petone versus Hutt, there's a lot of rivalry between the two different sides. Both teams have sort of different approaches to the game. How is Petone looking to approach Hutt this weekend?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think definitely a way that we can that we're looking to target Hutt Old Boys is not to match them physically or up front. We want to be using our speed and our skill set to if it's changing their point of attack through tips or loading out the back of pods and just keeping their big boys on their feet. Not making it easy for them and making it easy tackle. So just trying to change the point of attack and really move them around the park, challenge their back three. So there's definitely where we're looking to strike.
Well, TJ, it's been fantastic having you on the Hui. All the best with your injury and with Petone's chances this weekend trying to retain the McBain Shield.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks for that, Brad. Thanks for having me.
Well, Andy, we were sitting here listening to that interview with TJ Clarke, taking on board the captaincy this year, and what is only his third season as a regular starter for the team. Unfortunately, he's out injured this weekend. That's a real shame.
Yeah, it is disappointing. He's a young fella that's just come on so much, and he feels real comfortable playing the game. And I think the boy's got a bit of a future in rugby. He's fast. He can kick goals. He's, I think someone said when they first saw him kick, he said, "Is he DB's son?" Yeah. So someone made that comment, but he's a lovely kid, and his brother, Parramatta Plymouton, he's another good footballer. So his father would be a very happy man, I think. Following the two P's, Parramatta and Petone.
That's right. Yeah, well, he's going to have split loyalties again next week after last year. So. Well, Andy, it's McBain Shield Week. It's huge in the Hutt Valley, and probably over the last decade, it's really grown in that intensity. We've got the McBain Shield here in front of us tonight. We're up here in the museum. We're actually behind the museum cabinet, which is called Champions of Champions 1946 to 1976. You played in that later part of that Champions era. Tell us about Petone at that time and what made it special.
Oh well, Petone was a club I grew up in. I started to play rugby as a midget, as a 6-7-year-old. Played through the grades with a soccer father, if you like. But all my mates played rugby, so I come along here and played with them. Had some wonderful coaches. When we left Petone, when we were 12, 13-year-olds to go to secondary school, the club always had a team of guys who were. I was at Petone Tech, and George Harris, who I think was the club captain at the time, would pick a group of guys who were going to come back and play for the club, and that we'd go down and we'd play. I think it was Spraden, I think it was Spraden, one of those clubs down there. In Christchurch, we'd go down there every year. They kept us together, and we'd come back and, we played. I come out of secondary school as a 16-year-old and played a couple of years at 5th grade, then 4th grade, then we went into the seniors, and I think went through in 64. I think I got through into the Premier team, but. We were always told if you're good enough to make the Petone Premier team, you're only a kick in the pants away from making the Wellington rep team. And they were the only teams you had then. There was no academies, there was no side attractions or anything like that. You played for your club and you were loyal to your club. And I think the strength of our club, this club, has been our B team and our third team. The guys come along, played for us, and they never left, and they could have probably gone and played for any other Premier club in Wellington at the time, but they stayed here, and we had a wonderful club spirit, and it was a great place to belong to. You had wonderful coaches like Artie Lambourne, who was our coach, or wasn't our coach, who'd come along and coach us and teach us how the front rows played. I had Ray Bain and Harpy Portai coaching us at the age grades. Then I had Dom McIntosh coaching me in the Wellington Petone Bees. And I can remember the first game I had for the Bees, he got me, and we were playing Hutt Valley, or playing Hutt Maris, the first game in Senior Bees, and Don made me go and prop. I'd never propped before in my life. He said what I had to learn was that how hard 4 or 5 guys had to work for you to be one of these fancy boys who was a loose forward. So, it was a bloody good lesson. I couldn't walk for a week afterwards, but it certainly wasn't. To add to the excitement of the game, he said, Frank Ryan, the Wellington coach, is coming out to have a look at you. So I had to try and perform as a loose forward from the prop position. But, these are the sort of things you learnt, and to get picked and play alongside Ken Gray and people like that. Colin Toomey was my first captain, Rod Heaps, and, I went through club with Jim Brown and people, just played with great footballers. And it gave me the opportunity to, 1, to play for Petone Premiers, 2, play for Wellington, and then, fortunately play for the All Blacks.
When was your first experience of playing at McBain Shield, and how many did you play?
I think my first year premiers was 64. I played in the second half of the season. I made the senior team in 64. So 65, I think, would have been my first year. Then we played all the way through. Then Hutt fell on a wee bit of hard times and they got relegated. So I wouldn't be sure how many times I played for them. Probably the hardest games I ever played for the McBain Shield was when I was coaching the B team. And the expectation is here. You don't lose the McBain Shield, and we had to play that game against the Hutt senior team, and it got very hard. And I know I think Robbie Dugan was the coach of the senior thirds. when they lost it, and they lost 4-3, and you know, he couldn't live it down. He got a terribly hard time. But you know, the ground, you couldn't move on Petone Rec or the Hut Rec wherever the game was held, and the same could be said, you know, for the McBain Shield and the Paniki. Who did we play in the Paniki one? The Tilliard Shield. You know, the Paniki crowds would come out, they'd get off the trains and march down Jackson Street into the ground. And, you know, it's coming back to that again now, because I think people are looking for someone to support. They, you know, there's all this Hurricanes games and all that, but I think people are slowly coming back to the clubs and the expectation of what's built around the club, and the club's becoming more of a focus. And, you know, which is sad to see. You know, it's great that the Hurricanes are playing it, you know, this weekend. It's sad at the time they're playing, I think, for clubs.
I agree.
But at the same time, you know, I'll watch Petone, and I'll get on my bike, and I don't know if it'll be a bike. But
well, it was interesting last week when they played Mara St. Pat's last week, and yet again the Hurricanes played at 4:35. But when you came back into the clubhouse here, it was full.
Yep.
It was full, and just like you said, people were starting to come back into the club settings.
Club settings, and you know, there's an awful lot of enthusiasm for clubs, and you know, we've got a great bunch coming through now. What we want is, you know, the strength in two teams, and you know, if you've got a good B team, you're going to have a good A team.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Petone at the moment. They've got a lot of players, a lot of depth. And, of course, the top team's changed a lot every week, and that's a good sign of a healthy club, isn't it?
Absolutely, and and you know, I think the guys are loving it, and they're enjoying it, you know, so much. It's good.
And what do you know, at the moment, New Zealand rugby's in a bit of a pickle at the moment. It's a bit unstructured. No one sort of really knows what's sort of going. What do you think is the best solution for rugby to get it back on a positive footing?
I don't know what the best solution is, but I put in when they put out the when they did the survey and asked people to comment. I think the amateur game has to be looked after.
It does,
by a separate group of people. I think what they've been voting, I don't believe everyone's too far apart actually, but. I think the problems come when, you know, guns are held at people's heads that, you know, we're going to walk away and all this sort of stuff. And where it's a wee bit like this Saturday, we've got to understand where club rugby talks. And when I talk about clubs, you know, I often hear the Hurricanes being referred to as a club. They're a franchise.
A franchise,
The provincial team is the Wellington team. The clubs are Petone, the Ponsonbys. They're the clubs, and that's the base of our game, and we've got to have kids coming out of secondary schools into clubs to keep the game, you know,
to keep it growing,
keep the game flourishing and growing and be enjoyed. And I think if you can separate the amateur game a wee bit from the professional game, it gives you the opportunity to adjust the game, the rules to suit. Like clubs don't need 8 or 9 impact players on the bench.
No.
They just want 15 guys playing rugby every week.
That's right.
And the more guys you've got on the bench, it's less guys playing rugby. And I think guys get a wee bit brassed off just only playing 10 minutes of football because they're classed as an impact player. They put up with it for a year or two, but they don't stick around that long, and they disappear.
Right.
And we're better to have kids in love with the game and in love with the club.
Because you played in that time where actually if you were in the starting 15, you cherished that jersey and you didn't come off.
That's different now. You know, we went to South Africa with a club side and played 7 games in 3 weeks, and we took 21 players. You know? Now the All Blacks will go to England, or England will come out here and they'll have 40 players, and that's the nature of the game now. Players, it's so much more physical, and it's a different game altogether. But we've got to nurture the skills, and so we can bring the Christian Cullens and
Yeah.
these people can stay in the game, because at the moment the slow and maturing kid is being not given the opportunity. And most of the guys I played in the All Blacks with were slow and maturers.
Yeah, that's right.
They were guys. I think when we were picked for the All Blacks, we were called Dad's Army.
Yeah.
In 1974, when the team was selected, we were Dad's Army. And I was 29.
Yeah.
Crosby was 28 or something like that, and we were all quite an old group. But we'd all played 100 games for our province.
Yeah.
So we had a hell of a lot of experience, and I think there was about 6 or 7 captains in that team, so it was a pretty easy job for me. Eh?
You talk about captaincy. Then, of course, you were one of the few lucky people who wears a black jersey to actually captain the All Blacks. Tell us about that experience when you had to lead out your team for the first time.
The first time was unbelievable. I think it was South Australia we were playing, but just putting the jersey on, I think I slept with it that night, wore it, and I've just had it framed up and given to my grandson actually, and I've got another one from my first one I played here with the white one. I've got that framed up to give to my other grandson, but they're the only 2 jerseys I had left. But to my first Test match, if it wasn't for Clarke and Brian Williams, I don't know whether I would have got through it or not, because the game happened so quickly. It was just another level up, and it was against Australia. And we had a magnificent game, but Clarke and Brian, who had the experience, and the other guys who had the experience, as I mentioned before, we had a lot of captains on the team, provincial captains. So basically we all helped one another. Yeah. And it was a great feeling to be involved with, and one that you could never forget those memories.
What would be the one test that stands out for you in your All Black career?
Well, winning the test to stay in the series in South Africa. I remember coming off that ground, and after we'd played the game and we'd won it, there was no celebrations. I was, in actual fact, I think I was ill. I was vomiting and all that sort of out of relief. So the pressure on the player was, quite then was huge. But God, now it's it's like Sam Cane and these boys, what they've had to put up with is incredible. There was no telephones in our day.
No, that's right. No.
Reporting back, the press were playing up with us.
Now, of course, also we talked about that golden era of Petone. You won a lot of Jubilee Cups during that time. What do you think has been the best game that you've had in the Villages colours?
Best game we've had in the Villages colours. I don't know. I had so many of them, but I really couldn't put I couldn't name one single game. In 1973. I think I've got it right. 73 was a special year. I think we scored 600 points, 100 and something tries. 100 points we had scored against us. That team was just absolutely magic. We went through unbeaten, and that would be all those games were just outstanding. You're playing with guys who you knew how they lived, what they were going to have for breakfast, sort of thing. And on the field it was no different. Everyone knew what was happening, and that group of guys that I played with, and Nectar Stevens played with, and they gave us the opportunity to become what we did. We had Richard Cleland who never played for the All Blacks, but who played against the All Blacks and beat them. And then we had Jim Brown, who was probably should have and could have been an All Black, broke his leg. And we had all these sort of players around us. It was that year I'd single out rather than a particular fixture. Yeah.
Now, tonight you were here earlier and you were briefly talking to the Premier side before their training. What did you say to them?
Oh, just, tomorrow's no other game. Saturday, probably I'm more focused on the golf, which is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Against them. We've got to win the golf tomorrow. But Saturday, it's no different to any other game, except if you lose it, they just live across the bridge and they're going to let you know for the next 12 months you're going to live with it. So it's more than a rock under the beach towel on the beach. It's a bloody, you're living on the riverbed. you got stones, and then they'll change the colours of the lights on the bridge to green and red rather than blue.
Now, what's been your most memorable McBain moment not only as a player, coach, supporter? What's been the most memorable moment?
Probably my one a couple of years ago was a try.
Yes, McBain Miracle, yeah.
The McBain Miracle, which went round the world. That was a great moment. That to me was probably one of the highlights. Sitting in the stand where I've sat, well, we can't sit there anymore, but since I've been sitting there, I haven't made a mistake. The referees have made plenty. I've made none. Haven't knocked the ball on, but that game, the whole stand was up on the feet. Yeah. We were up cheering it on, and the crowd was saying, up on their feet, saying, "Oh no!" but that particular moment was, McBain Rugby Club Rugby. It was absolutely brilliant, and we've had many of those moments over the years, and you can. If you're sitting with a group of guys who's played in different games, they'll remember them. But I remember that moment very clearly because that's what McBain Shield was all about.
That grandstand can withstand the Clarke earthquake and McBain Shield. I don't know why it's closed, isn't it? So
I know. I can't understand it, and they can get changed underneath it and do all those sort of things. It just beats me.
So also tonight we had one of the junior teams training, and there's some sons of former players that are in that team, and a player called Jared Adams spoke to them tonight, nicknamed Rampage. He gave them some words of what it's like to play in McBain Shield footy in this age.
Yeah, and the coach of the team is Bushy, who's been and his son's there, and he's been coaching the team since they were 5-year-olds, and good to see all the kids sitting around there having a hamburger and the chips and a can of Coke and a cake of chocolate, after training, and as they were spoken to, and I think the guys will be saying the same thing, like you're going to play with your jersey, play with pride, but go out there and enjoy it, and make sure you try hardest, and don't, he was saying don't get too disappointed if it doesn't go your way, but if it does, enjoy it, but be respect who you've played against, and I think they were very good words.
Last year, the Petone Football Club brought up 100 years. That's the what we used to call soccer. We're going to call it football now. Yep. Your father was a footballer. Tell us about the connection there.
My dad was played 2 Chatham Cup games and coached the Chatham Cup team. So he's got the 3 Chatham Cups that they've got. He's won it. He was their first life member. And in actual fact, I have the honour now of being the patron of of the football club. And they're a great bunch. They're hard-working. The Pickering family, all the groups down there, they're all good guys. But my father was a very keen football player, and he tried. I remember when my sister, who was going to Hutt Valley High School at the time, who's incidentally her best friend at Hutt Valley High School was Linnea McBain, who was the McBain Shield's named after.
That's right.
Yeah. So. And all their family are coming down for the weekend, but Linnea and my sister was involved. And my father tried to get soccer introduced to Hutt Valley High School, and he had no show. Pasty Millard and Stan Ransom and these guys weren't going to have football in their school. But it's changed a wee bit now, and I think 2 or 3 years ago, Hutt Valley High School was the top football.
Yeah, it was up there at one stage, yeah.
Football team. And when Leah was going to Hutt Valley High School, they had she went through with Fitzgerald and Jardine and all those guys who went to Hutt Valley High School.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah.
As well as rugby, you're a pretty handy softballer too, Andy, weren't you?
Oh, yeah, I tried. I was lucky. Look, in my life, I've been so lucky. I played with probably one of the greatest players, Ken Gray, as rugby. I played with Ken, and if I could tell us just a little story about Ken when I first made the senior team, and the ball was hooked and made a move, and I was meant to do a move off the back of the scrum, and it was, we did things at training where you didn't need to be told what happened in the game. The move happened, and he said he pulled his head out the scrum. He said, "What the?" Gave me a bit of an earful. I was a wee bit shaky. He said, "You're playing." I said, "Oh, I was waiting for your call." He said, "I can't see what I'm doing here." He said, "I'm pushing it forward so you can make bloody moves." He said, "You've got to make the call." I said, "Oh, my first game." He said, "It doesn't matter. You're the Petone Premier number 8." He said, "You've got to do make those calls." So I learned very quickly that when you get into a position, you've got to own it, and you don't wait for someone else to tell you. You've got to do the things that are right, and. So that, and then in softball, I played with a guy called Bill Massey and another guy called Terry Nuns, and who were, the best pitching combination, pitching captain combination in New Zealand. And Bill was a great guy. And I'd never played softball until I'd left secondary school. I always played cricket. So when I left school, I lived around the corner from Roy Sinclair and a few other people, and they all played. So they took me down one day, and I met Les Herbert, who was our coach, and Frank Jeremson, who would be two of the best coaches I've ever had in any sport, taught me at softball, and I was lucky enough for a couple of seasons there. I was hitting the ball with the bat pretty often, so I got a good average, and lucky enough I got selected to go to a World Series. So.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, lucky.
Now, the Leslie name has continued. There was the Leslie rugby brand for a while. And, of course, the two sons have represented Scotland as well, John and Marty as well. And it's continued down in Dunedin at the Southern Club. And also your grandson has played a few games for Otago as well. Yeah,
he just loves it. He's had a bit of bad luck over the last 6 months. He's had an operation on his hip and a big toe. He tore the ligaments in playing for Otago. That seems to be coming all right now. So, but he's away, and John and Martin, John was told he wasn't going to make it here, so he took off to Japan. And a friend of mine come out here for a holiday and to follow the Scottish team round, and he organised with Jim Telfer to have a chat with John and he got him out of Japan into Scotland, and Marty went to Scotland, and they both did very well for themselves. Marty played 2 World Cups, and John, he played in the one, and they played bloody well. Martin got the forward of the year, and John got the back of the year when they won the 5 Nations. It was in 2000. So yeah, they were lucky, but they enjoyed it. I remember sitting in the stand at Murrayfield there one day, and I was sitting with Chris Cullen, Christian's dad. He said, "How can you be cheering for Scotland?" I said, "Oh, blood's a wee bit thicker than, I said, but I also feel a wee bit confident that, the All Blacks are going to win." They'd give us, Chris gave us a wee bit of stick, but, it was all good fun.
McBain, this Saturday, you've got Hutt's big forwards and Petone's talented backs. Could this be sort of a repeat of the last 2 years? Well, how do you see this game planning out this Saturday?
I think it's going to be very close. I think it's going to be really close. I think either team has the ability, because what actually happens in McBain Shields, it doesn't matter whether you're top or bottom.
Yep.
It's always going to be a tight, hard game.
Yes.
And then if the teams get together, they when they're closer together, the ball can bounce anyway.
That's right,
As we've
yeah.
seen over the last 2 or 3 occasions, the games have been pretty close.
Yep.
They've been, and you know, I think it'll be a real tight game. And my only disappointment is, you know, probably a lot of people are going to go straight home after the game and watch the Hurricanes play. I know I'll be shooting in to watch the Hurricanes play, but you know, they won't be back here to enjoy the camaraderie that
That's
normally
right.
goes with these games.
Yeah. Andy, it's been fantastic having you on the Hui tonight alongside our recorded interview of TJ Clarke. We'll definitely see you on Saturday down at the Petone Rec, and also it's a big day also for the women's team. They have a semi-final as well. They're undefeated so far.
Yep, they're going very well, and you know, fair play to them. I think Wainui defaulted the other week, but the rumour was they were saving themselves for this week. Is that all right?
Yes, it's the alleged rumour. So, and on Huddy Sports, we're actually bringing you both those games. We've got the women's at 11, Petone versus Wainui, the semi-final of the Te Pasi Memorial Trophy. So our coverage will start at 10:45. And then, of course, the big one, McBain Shield on Huddy Sports at 2:15. Coverage will start at 2. Earlier kick-off due to the Hurricanes semi-final. Andy, yet again, many thanks for coming on the Hui. It's been fantastic having you on.
Always good.
Yep. And we'll see you on Saturday. That is the Huddy Hui for tonight. Ciao for now.